This is nauseating. I could never be an actor.
I'm worried about the child trying to play with my Legos, but I get its own Legos and we'll hide mine.
Well, you're gonna have to help me out because I forgot all the questions. Okay, my name's William Rodriguez. Everybody calls me Memo. Born and raised in El Paso, Texas. I come from a military family. My dad served in the United States Army for 22 and a half years. I went on to join the Marine Corps for 8 years. Any other branch of service was not an option. It was always going to be the Marines, because the way I looked at it is if I was going to do it, I was going to join the best branch. I'm married to a very wonderful, lovely woman, and I have a daughter and 3 stepdaughters and 2 grandchildren and 2 English bulldogs that are my life. Everything I've tried to do is I go all out, you know. I do Ironman triathlons, run marathons, I do the big things. I'm into the more heavy metal, as you can say, or thrash bands. I grew up in the 80s, so you know, the hair bands were really big with me. You know, one of the things I still love to do today is go see live shows. I love seeing live music. So I'll go see Metallica and Iron Maiden and Slayer and Testament and all those kind of old 80s thrash guys. You know, what me and my wife do for fun is we get away. We like to travel. We like to get out together. We like to spend time together. We like to make little trips, turn a long weekend to a nice little getaway. So yeah, that's who I am.
My name is Crystalline, and I'm 22 years old, and I am currently a stay-at-home pregnant woman. Since I'm not working, I get up and I'll probably clean, cook, and sometimes I like to go for walks around here because it's really nice.
My name's Aaron. I'm 29 years old and I work as an intake coordinator. Basic day for me looks like I wake up, go to work 8 hours, come home, eat her home cooking, which is sometimes hit or miss.
It was awesome when I met him because look at him. He's all cute and he's smooth with his words, and I don't know, it was just like, it started and we had a lot in common, and then it was like, well, we have a little bit more in common, and then we had this weird instant connection, and we just kind of, got closer and fell deeper in love with each other.
My name is Rhonda, and I am 38 years old, and I have 2 children, Jake, 2 years old, and Alex, 9 years old. I'm married to Brian, and we run a drywall business. He started that a few years back, and I took over and started running that the last few years on my own. And we also raise tortoises. So we run a drywall business, and we have a lot of animals. So we're very busy people.
This is Rhonda. How can I help you?
Oh, where would I begin? On a normal day in my life, I get up like every mom does, and I get the kids ready, and it's an hour of chaos of just, breakfast and brushing teeth and all the normal things that we do. And we rush out the door, and then I head back to my house to, babysit technicians all day and basically dispatch them out towards jobs. And next thing you know, it's the afternoon time and it's time to take care of tortoises and feedings and cleanings. And next thing you know, it's 5 o'clock, it's time to pick up the kids and then the whole chaos starts again for the evening time, the baths and dinner and it's just a normal, typical, family house that we just, wake up and do the whole thing again the next day.
I've been in recovery for 10 months.
I've been clean for 8 years and just a couple months.
I have 22 years clean and sober.
The biggest lie that's out there is that if you are an addict, you can't be a productive member of society. I'm Amy Rushline. I'm a marriage and family therapist, and I currently am working at USC in their graduate school of social work. I've also worked in addictions and recovery for about 12 years. The reality is that addiction knows no boundaries. It knows no socioeconomic status, no gender, no culture.
I think the hardest thing for people to understand is the fact that everyone who's an addict is different. We might use the same drugs, might do what we have to do to keep using those drugs, but we're all different people. I mean, we use drugs for different reasons.
We as a society are prone to wanting to tune out.
Why I started using, I hated me.
I think I didn't know how to cope with certain feelings that I would have.
I got teased a lot. I got teased a lot as a kid. I got bullied.
I was molested as a child, and it was something I never shared with somebody, and I held in and I kept in.
I was sexually molested. I was sexually molested a couple times.
You have all this hurt and pain from, being molested when you were younger, from being raped when you got older.
I thought that I had brought that abuse on myself. So when somebody said, hey, you want to hit this, it'll make you feel better, I was all about it.
Using drugs helped me to overcome that feeling, and it numbed out that feeling of being alone. And for a minute, it made me feel that I didn't need anybody else.
Anything to check myself out of myself, I was going to do. And it just so happened to be it was drugs and alcohol that came my way.
Because of the fact that there is such a huge stigma that's linked to addictive illness, people might not feel comfortable with sharing their status, sharing that they're in recovery.
Me and my recovery is not something that I flash. It's not something that I tell everybody because I'm not sure what your biases are.
When I first came out here, and I was having a problem, and I had gone to a doctor, and I was honest with her. I was like, listen, I was a drug addict, I was an IV drug user, and I explained to her, I'm clean now, but I've been having this problem. And she was, basically without any exam, automatically told me that I had an STD. She put that stigma on me. Just because I was a drug addict meant that I was a very promiscuous person.
It's difficult that has to be a decision of whether to trust someone or not.
I don't have to divulge it to you, but if you know that about me, and then you turn it against me, I mean, you have a very vital piece of information to use against me that can hurt me, not only just emotionally as I talk to you, but with other people, So, and that's the hardest part is who can you trust to tell that to?
I think that if that would have happened to me when I was first getting clean, I think something like that could have been a huge blow to my encouragement towards doing something better for myself.
I think for somebody early in recovery to face those type of biases and prejudices about wanting to get in recovery and wanting to stay clean, that could very well lead to and kind of feed into the addiction part of their brain.
I know for me, when I first got clean, I had to stay away from social media for a little while. Like, that was a big thing for me, because we have this blog now it's like the patch of our town, and it posts, you know, anybody gets in trouble for drugs, it's up there, and it's connected to, you know, like Facebook and all that stuff. And then you see like the people that comment on it, and they're like, oh, what a scumbag, oh, you know, what a terrible person, why don't you just go overdose and die and the town will be a better place. And it's always an attack. I feel like it's an attack personally on me. Like, that's exactly how I feel.
If I have somebody that's having biases and prejudices against me for me trying to do something good with my life, then what am I doing? You know, well, I'm not right if I am using, but I'm also not right if I'm trying to get in recovery. What are we telling them? You know, that you're a failure either way you go.
This is everywhere, that our society as a whole has an addiction problem.
Millions of people out there have the disease of addiction.
You can have people who are doctors, you can have people that are lawyers, you can have people that are, you know, homeless people on the side of the road, all be addicts.
It's just normal, everyday people that are running businesses and, you know, raising families. And so it's like, you know, hello, open our eyes to the fact that, you know, we're amongst you. You just may not know it.
The oddest look that I get when I tell somebody finally that I'm in recovery, they're like, you don't look like an addict. That's because I'm a different person. And the addict you're thinking of, it was a guy I was 20 years ago. That's not who I am today.
I am so different than the woman I used to be, and the things that I apply to my life every day come directly from what I've learned in recovery.
Everything there is to know about life, I learned in recovery.
It just gives me so much courage to approach the things that I would have normally been afraid to do.
I have that resource to go to a meeting and, you know, share about it with a bunch of people who know exactly the way that I feel, exactly, you know, have probably exactly been through what I've been through, and I can get their experience and some strength and some hope from them. And then I can later on maybe give that to somebody else.
As human beings, we are powerful social animals, and we are wired to want to be connected. And so if you can find a support group or a peer group where you feel truly socially connected to others, I think that's what helps people in recovery. That's truly what creates wellness.
One of the things that really attracted me to these programs was love. You know, it was something that was the one thing that broke the barrier. You know, I didn't understand that at the time, but my mom kicking me out of the house, that was an act of love. You know, people in the rooms that would pick me up, take me to dinner, that was an act of love. You know, and sometimes I think that, like, especially for somebody who's in active addiction, we need to love them until they learn to love themselves. You know, to me, that's invaluable. You don't get that anywhere. You know.